Two brothers sit divided by bulletproof glass. One wears a tailored suit, walking into the sun. The other returns to a dark cell for life. 6 months ago, those roles were reversed. Travis was serving a 5-year sentence in a maximum security facility for possession of narcotics, a crime he didn't commit. This diagram outlines how the setup worked. Travis uncovered a massive embezzlement scheme run by CEO Marcus Collins. To keep the books clean, Collins paid street boss Raymond to launder the stolen money. When Travis got too close, Collins directed Raymond to plant the drugs in Travis's trunk, neutralizing the threat. Travis played by the rules and ended up in a cell. Malachi responded by abandoning the courts entirely, targeting the one thing the corporate hierarchy couldn't hide, the physical paper trail. Malachi organized a 3 a.m. armed raid on Raymond's underground gambling room. His target was a physical master ledger, a black binder containing the specific signed disbursements linking the CEO directly to the street-level corruption. The operation required precision. Instead, it devolved into chaos. Inside the security cage, Malachi's hired muscle, a man named Terrell, opened fire. In a matter of seconds, Terrell executed Raymond and the house security guard, leaving 2 bodies bleeding out on the counting table. Malachi secured the ledger, but the cost was 2 bodies. He left the building with the evidence he needed, but he was now a prime suspect in a capital murder case. Adrenaline often forces critical mistakes. As the crew fled the scene in a stolen getaway vehicle, a custom-engraved silver lighter slipped from Malachi's pocket and wedged deep into the seat tracks, left behind as they abandoned the car. Investigators found the abandoned sedan hours later. The engraved initials gave police a direct line to Malachi's identity. Within hours, the forensic net began closing tight around his crew. Knowing arrest was imminent, Malachi made a desperate pivot. He drove the crew straight to the Chestnut Hill estate of Marcus Collins. If the police were going to catch him, he needed to force the CEO to sign a legally binding confession while he still had the leverage of the stolen ledger. Carrying a heavy weapon onto a Chestnut Hill estate moved the conflict from the streets to the CEO's front door. Malachi was forcing a direct confrontation with the man who dismantled his family. The crew smashed through the glass French doors of the mansion. The immaculate, silent wealth of the estate collided instantly with the frantic violence of men who had nothing left to lose. In the center of the grand marble foyer, Malachi tied Marcus Collins to a chair. Bleeding and terrified, the CEO was forced to write out every detail of the frame-up, his signature authenticating the crimes recorded in the black binder. But the clock had run out. A state police tactical team blew the hinges off the front doors. Flashbangs blinded the room, and Terrell immediately opened fire on the entry team, sparking a massive, deafening shootout across the marble floor. Pinned behind a heavy mahogany desk, Malachi clutched the ledger to his chest as high-velocity rounds chewed through the walls above him. The perimeter was locked down. There was no back door. Surviving the firefight meant giving himself up. To ensure the ledger made it into the hands of federal prosecutors and actually freed his brother, Malachi had to drop his weapon and surrender his own freedom. Hours later, sitting handcuffed to a metal table in a freezing, windowless interrogation room, the adrenaline faded into a harsh legal reality. This graphic illustrates the mechanism of the felony murder rule in Pennsylvania. Because Malachi participated in the armed robbery at the gambling den, the law legally tags him with every body that dropped during that crime. He never pulled the trigger, but he carries the exact same murder culpability as the man who did. The justice system doesn't trade murder charges for corporate secrets. His motivations were irrelevant to the penal code. The state had him dead to rights, and he was staring down a permanent sentence in state prison. Malachi made his final play. He handed the blood-stained ledger directly to the detectives and accepted 2 consecutive life sentences. In exchange, the federal government launched a full grand jury investigation into Liberty Structural. The physical receipts did exactly what they were supposed to do. The Conviction Integrity Unit dropped all charges against Travis Vance, and former CEO Marcus Collins was indicted, stripped of his empire, and sent to federal prison. Which brings us back to the visitation booth. Travis sits on the left side of the glass, a free man with a clean record. Malachi sits on the right, shackled to a chair he will never permanently leave. Malachi didn't lose. He calculated that the evidence required to free Travis was worth the remainder of his own life. The ledger is closed because one brother took the place of the other, proving that in a rigged system, justice is bought with the only currency Malachi had left, his own freedom.